My fiance's boss kept hitting on her, but she said they were just friends until he crossed the line at the company party. But my GF took his side, so I did this, and now she's lost everything. So my fiancée Lily and I have been together for about 4 years now and engaged for the last year and a half. We're trying to save for our wedding next summer. Venue deposits are insane, by the way, while also dealing with our fixer-upper house we bought last year. That house has been a money pit. The inspector missed everything important. We've had to replace the water heater, fix the roof, and just last month found out there's some weird electrical issue in the upstairs bathroom that's going to cost like $2 to fix. But whatever, that's not the point of this post. I work as a civil engineer, and Lily works at a tech startup called Innovista. She's been there for like 3 years and loves it. About 7 months ago, Lily's company hired this new CMO named Brett. He's like 42 and has this impressive resume with connections in the tech world. When he first started, Lily was super excited about him joining. She kept talking about how he was going to help position the company for acquisition. But then I started noticing that she was mentioning his name a lot. Like, we'd be talking about what to watch on Netflix, and somehow Brett's opinion on the show would come up. Or we'd be discussing vacation plans, and she'd mention, Brett thinks we should consider Aruba instead. Like, why does your boss's travel preferences matter to our vacation? And then she started working late, a lot. Before Brett, she'd usually be home by 6 or 6:30, maybe 7 on a busy day. But suddenly, she's not getting home until 8 or 9, sometimes even later, and she's constantly checking her phone during dinner while we're watching TV, even on weekends. Every time I ask, it's always something about Brett needing things urgently or work emergencies. I tried to be understanding because startups can be demanding, and she really wants to grow her career. But then, the gifts started happening. About 3 months ago, she came home with this super premium tablet. I'm talking like $1,200 iPad Pro with all the accessories. I was shocked because we're trying to save money. She told me Brett gave it to her for presentations. A few weeks later, she had this designer handbag that I know costs at least $600 because I looked it up after. Her explanation was that Brett says the team needs to look more professional at client meetings. When I pointed out that these seemed like really expensive work supplies, she got defensive and said he gives similar stuff to other team members and he's investing in the team. But like, a designer bag? Really? The thing is, Lily also mentioned that she's being considered for a director position that would basically double her salary and include equity options, which would be amazing for us. We could actually afford our wedding without going into debt and maybe finally fix all the house issues properly. So I didn't want to rock the boat too much. But then I met Brett at this company happy hour thing and just, So I get to the bar to meet Lily after work, right? The second we walk in the door, this guy, who I immediately know is Brett, basically beelines toward us. He gives Lily this weird hug that lasted way too long and barely acknowledged that I'm standing right there. Then he immediately launches into work talk with Lily, using all this industry jargon that feels deliberate, like he's trying to exclude me from the conversation. I tried jumping in a few times, but he would just give me this quick fake smile and then turn back to Lily. And the whole time, he kept finding reasons to touch her. Hand on her lower back, touching her arm, at one point even brushing her hair back when it fell in her face. Who does that to a coworker? The worst part, when Lily finally introduced me, she said, "This is Andrew, my boyfriend, not my fiancé," even though she was wearing the engagement ring I spent 3 months' salary on. And Brett told me he thought they were just dating casually. What the actual F? She wears her ring every day. There's no way he didn't know we were engaged. I pointedly brought up our wedding plans after that, and Brett suddenly had to go mingle with some investors, but kept looking over at Lily all night. On the way home, I tried to talk to her about how uncomfortable the whole interaction made me, and she got super defensive. She said I was overreacting and that Brett is just touchy-feely, and that's how people network in marketing. Then she accused me of being jealous and trying to sabotage her career opportunities just as she's being considered for this director position. I dropped it because she was getting really upset, but it's been bothering me ever since. Things have gotten weirder since then. She's having more business dinners alone with Brett. Sometimes she doesn't get home until 11 p.m. or later, and a few times I could smell alcohol on her. She started wearing more makeup to work than she used to, buying new clothes, which, fine. If she's moving up the ladder, I get wanting to look professional, but still. And she's been super secretive with her phone lately, changing her passcode, angling the screen away from me, always keeping it face down. I know this makes me sound like a paranoid asshole, but one time when she was in the shower, I checked her messages. I know that's wrong and invasive, and I've never done anything like that before, but I was going crazy with worry. I didn't find anything explicitly inappropriate, but there were a lot of texts from Brett at weird hours like 11 p.m. or 6 a.m. asking for her input on various things. Some of them seemed overly friendly, like when she worked from home, he said he missed her face, or telling her she's so much smarter than the rest of the team. Then last week, I ran into Jane, who works with Lily, and who we sometimes hang out with socially. After a few drinks, Jane mentioned that Brett apparently has a history of inappropriate relationships with women who work for him. According to her, he left his last job under mysterious circumstances, after rumors about his behavior with female employees got too loud to ignore. Jane seemed genuinely concerned about how much time Lily was spending alone with him. When I told Lily what Jane said, she absolutely exploded. I've never seen her that angry in 4 years together. She accused me of actively trying to sabotage her career advancement and insisted Brett is just a friend and an important mentor who believes in her potential. She said Jane was just jealous because she got passed over for a promotion Lily received. After a huge fight, I reluctantly agreed to back off because I don't want to damage our relationship over what might be unfounded suspicions, but I can't shake this bad feeling. Now, the company has announced some major investment deal, and they're having this fancy gala thing next weekend to celebrate. Partners are invited, so I'll be going with Lily, and Brett will obviously be there. Am I overreacting here? Is this normal boss-employee relationship stuff in the corporate world? Or is there something sketchy happening? And how do I handle this gala situation? Edit. Thanks for all the responses. To answer some common questions, no, Lily hasn't cheated in the past as far as I know. Our relationship was really solid before all this Brett stuff started. And yes, I've tried having calm, non-accusatory conversations about it, but she immediately gets defensive no matter how I approach it. Edit 2. Some people are asking if I'm just jealous of her career success. Absolutely not. I've always supported her career and been proud of her accomplishments. This isn't about her working hard or getting promoted. It's about the specific inappropriate behaviors I'm seeing from Brett and the way she's changed since he arrived. Edit 3. For everyone saying just trust your fiancé, I do trust her, but I'm concerned she's being manipulated by someone in a position of power. The gifts, the late-night texts, the touching. It all feels like something inappropriate. Now for the first update. So a lot has happened since my last post about my fiancée Lily and her boss Brett. Thanks to everyone who commented on my last post. You guys were right about a lot of things, and I wish I'd taken the warning signs more seriously. Especially the person who said, he's testing boundaries to see what he can get away with. You were spot on. I'll start with the gala itself, which was this past weekend. It was at this fancy hotel downtown. We were getting ready at home, and I had to dig out my dress shoes from the back of the closet. Literally hadn't worn them since my cousin's wedding like 3 years ago, and they were so uncomfortable. But whatever, that's obviously not the important part of this story. I'm rambling already. Sorry, still processing everything, and I haven't really slept much the past few days, so my thoughts are all over the place. Oh wait, I should mention that the week leading up to the gala, Lily was super stressed about making everything perfect, like staying late at work every day, constantly texting with Brett about preparation for the event. I tried to be supportive, but honestly, it was starting to feel like this gala was for them, not some company investment thing. And I tried bringing it up once, and she just snapped at me that I didn't understand how important this was for her career. Anyway, Lily looked amazing in this new black dress I'd never seen before. When I asked about it, she said she bought it specifically for the gala because Brett had emphasized how important it was to make a good impression on the investors. That rubbed me the wrong way, but I tried not to make a big deal out of it. So we get to this gala, and literally the second we walk in, Brett shows up and comes straight for us. He completely gushes over Lily, telling her she looks absolutely breathtaking and how the investors are going to love her, and barely acknowledges I'm even standing there, like a quick hey man to me, and then right back to fawning over my fiancé. I know I probably sound jealous, and maybe I am a little, but come on, it was so obvious what he was doing, and Lily was just eating it up, all smiles and thank yous. I get that it's her boss, but still. Throughout the night, Brett kept finding reasons to pull Lily away for quick work conversations or to introduce her to important people, and every single time, he'd put his hand on her lower back or arm to guide her around. I was trying so hard to keep my cool and be professional, but inside I was really angry. At one point, he literally pulled her away while I was mid-sentence talking to her. While Lily was being paraded around by Brett, I made small talk with some other partners and her colleagues. Had an interesting conversation with this executive named Philip. I think he's the COO or something. I'm bad with titles. After a few drinks, he made this comment about Brett's special interest in Lily's career that was definitely hinting at something more. He said something like, Brett always finds one special project to focus on, and then looked at me with this weird smile. The way he said it, and then looked at me like I was supposed to be in on some joke, I felt sick. Like, do people at the company think my fiancé is sleeping with her boss? Is that what everyone assumes? I also talked to Tammy from HR, and when I casually mentioned Brett and Lily's close working relationship, she got this really uncomfortable look on her face and changed the subject super fast. That definitely set off alarm bells. I mean, if HR is already aware something's off, why haven't they done anything? And if they're not aware, why did she get so weird about it? About 2 hours into the event, after all the speeches and dinner, I realized I hadn't seen Lily in almost an hour. At first, I figured she was just networking, but after looking around the main ballroom and checking the bar area, I started to get worried. I asked a few of her colleagues if they'd seen her, and this guy Wes from her team hesitantly told me he saw Brett leading Lily toward the hotel's garden terrace for some air. The way he said it, I could tell he thought something was off too. So I head out to this garden terrace. I'm looking around, and at first, I don't see them. Then I spot them in a corner partially hidden by some shrubs. Guys! Brett had Lily basically cornered against a wall. He was standing way too close to her, and I could immediately see from her body language that she was uncomfortable, arms crossed, leaning away from him. As I'm watching, this asshole reaches out and touches her hair, then leans in like he's going to kiss her. I hear him say that her promotion depends on how appreciative she is of his support. I was so angry. Lily told him that it wasn't appropriate and reminded him she was engaged. And this jerk said she hadn't seemed to mind his attention until now and told her to stop playing games. I called out Lily's name and walked straight toward them. Brett jumped back and immediately started acting like nothing inappropriate was happening. He claimed they were just discussing work. When I confronted him, he said Lily had been giving him signals for months and that they had a connection she doesn't have with me. By this point, a few other guests had come onto the terrace and were watching everything. Lily looked really upset and almost crying. She grabbed my arm and insisted we leave immediately. The car ride home was quiet for the first 10 minutes. Then Lily broke down crying. She admitted that Brett had been making more and more obvious advances for months. She swore she never encouraged him, but was afraid of losing her career if she rejected him, especially with the promised promotion on the line. She said she thought she could handle it professionally without creating issues. I was so hurt and angry, not just at Brett, but at Lily too. We had this huge argument when we got home. I couldn't understand why she hadn't been honest with me or reported him to HR. She kept saying I didn't understand the complex power dynamics at play and how difficult these situations are for women in tech. And I get that in theory, but this is my fiancé we're talking about, the person I'm supposed to build a life with. How are we supposed to have a marriage if she's hiding something this important? The next few days were difficult. Lily explicitly asked me not to get involved, saying she would handle it her way. But the more I thought about what happened, and about all the things people said in my previous post about how these predators just move from victim to victim if they're not stopped, I couldn't just do nothing. So I made a decision. I helped Lily compile evidence of Brett's inappropriate behavior, screenshots of texts he'd sent her at 11 p.m. asking if she was still up, email exchanges with suggestive comments that she had forwarded to her personal email just in case, and I even recorded Lily describing multiple instances of harassment, It took a lot of convincing for her to agree to this. But I didn't stop there. My research led me to two former female employees, April and Katie, who had left the company shortly after Brett arrived. I reached out to them through LinkedIn with a carefully worded message, and after some back and forth, both women shared similar experiences with Brett's inappropriate behavior and pressure. With their permission, I included their testimonies in a formal complaint package. 3 days ago, I sent the whole thing to Innovista's HR department, CEO, and each member of the board. I also forwarded it to William Hunter, the representative of the major investment firm whose deal was being celebrated at the gala. Lily found out what I'd done when she was called into an emergency meeting with HR the next morning. She came home furious. Like, I've never seen her this angry in our entire relationship. She said I made a unilateral decision that would affect her career and life without her consent. She kept saying, "Who gave you the right?" over and over. Now I'm sitting here wondering if I made the right decision. On one hand, Brett needed to be stopped. What he was doing was clearly sexual harassment and possibly even assault. But on the other hand, I went against Lily's explicit wishes. Did I overstep? Am I the asshole here? Edit. Thanks for all the comments. To address some common questions. No, I don't regret exposing Brett. Yes, I understand why Lily is upset. And no, she hasn't left me yet, but things are extremely tense. Edit 2. Several people are asking if I've heard anything from the company since filing the complaint. Just got an email from HR requesting a meeting tomorrow. We'll update when I know more. For those suggesting I should have found a middle ground with Lily, I tried. We talked about options for days, but she kept insisting she would handle it her way, which basically meant continuing to tolerate his behavior while hoping for the promotion. I couldn't stand by and watch that happen. To clarify timeline, the gala was Saturday night, we argued Sunday. I spent Monday and Tuesday gathering evidence and talking to the former employees, sent everything Wednesday morning, and Lily found out Wednesday afternoon when HR called her in. It's now Saturday, and we've barely spoken for 3 days. Now for the second update. So a lot has happened since my last post. Like holy shit levels of chaos. Thanks to everyone who commented and messaged me with advice. First, what happened with Brett? After I sent all that evidence to the company, HR, CEO, board members, and the investor guy, Brett was immediately put on leave. Like, immediately. Security literally walked him out of the building the same day. The company acted super fast, which honestly surprised me because I expected more corporate bullshit dragging things out. The news spread through Innovista really fast. Like, within hours, everyone knew. So much for HR's request for discretion during the investigation process. Lol. I got this formal email from their legal team asking me to be discreet, which seemed kind of ridiculous since I'm not even an employee, while they sorted everything out. These past 2 weeks have been absolute hell. I've barely slept, maybe 3 to 4 hours a night. Been living off cold pizza and those Monster energy drinks. The white ones, they're actually not bad. My sister called yesterday about our mom's birthday dinner next weekend, and I honestly couldn't even focus on what she was saying. And then the wedding venue called to confirm some details, and I just froze. Like, what am I supposed to say when I don't even know if there's still going to be a wedding? Oh, and our stupid house issues continue. The kitchen sink started leaking and has completely warped the cabinet underneath. Because of course, we needed another home repair crisis right now. Anyway, within like 2 days of my report, 3 other women from the company came forward with similar stories about Brett. One of them had actually quit because of him a few months ago. Turns out Jane was right about his history at the company. That William Hunter guy, the investor, put the entire investment deal on hold because he was concerned about potential scandal and company culture issues. So basically, the whole reason for that stupid gala is now meaningless. The fallout for Lily has been bad. Really bad. She didn't get fired, thank God. But they pulled her off all her major projects, and the director promotion is indefinitely postponed, which we all know means it's not happening. According to Lily, the office is now like a high school with all the gossip. Some people are treating her like this brave victim standing up to harassment. Others are basically blaming her for encouraging Brett and causing the company's financial problems. And a bunch of people are just straight up avoiding her so they don't get pulled into the drama. There are all these rumors going around that she was sleeping with Brett to get ahead. She wasn't. Or that she led him on for months and then suddenly played victim when it suited her. Also not true. It's disgusting. And now, with the investment deal falling apart, Innovista is talking about downsizing, so people who might lose their jobs are blaming her too. Lily says her career at Innovista is basically over, no matter what the investigation finds. The whole thing has ruined everything for her there. And as for us, God, I don't even know where to start. 3 days after she got called into that HR meeting, Lily packed like 4 suitcases and moved to her sister's apartment. Said she needed space to think. She's barely talking to me. One-word text responses, ignoring my calls, etc. Our friends tell me she's completely devastated and angry. She's telling everyone that while Brett was obviously wrong, I had absolutely no right to make decisions about her career and her workplace problems. Our last real conversation before she left was awful. She came home from work and slammed the door really hard. When I tried to talk to her and offered to get her favorite Thai food, she just ignored me. She asked if I was satisfied with what I'd done. I explained Brett needed to be held accountable, but she accused me of doing it all because I was jealous, not because I cared about her well-being. I tried explaining I was protecting her from Brett, who kept crossing boundaries, but she got really upset. She told me she was handling it her own way on her timeline. I pointed out that she wasn't really handling it, just hoping for a promotion while letting him get away with it. She started crying and told me her career was ruined while Brett would probably just get hired somewhere else. When I tried to comfort her, she pushed me away. She told me she didn't know if she could forgive me for making choices about her life without her consent. When I asked if she would have preferred, I did nothing while Brett harassed her. She said what she wanted didn't matter to me anyway. I told her I love her too much to watch her be mistreated, and she said if I respected her, I would have respected her decisions. After that, we just kind of sat there in silence for a while. Then she announced she was staying at her sister's and needed time to think, and she's been gone ever since. Look, I know what I did had consequences. I'm starting to realize that while I still think Brett needed to be stopped, maybe I could have found a better way to do it. I can admit that part of it was jealousy and insecurity. Like, before the harassment got really obvious, it did bother me how close they were. And I should have found a way to support Lily while respecting that she should handle her own work problems. Our mutual friend Casey told me Lily's been job hunting at other tech companies, but apparently, rumors about the whole situation have already spread in the industry. It's such bullshit. She's the victim, but somehow her reputation is the one getting damaged. Oh, and Brett has hired some fancy lawyer and is threatening to sue for defamation. What a joke. The investigation is still going on, but from what I've heard, the evidence against him is pretty overwhelming with all the other women coming forward. I guess one positive thing is that Innovista is implementing new harassment training and reporting procedures, but that doesn't really help Lily or our relationship much. The latest development happened yesterday. Brett was officially fired after the investigation concluded. The company sent out this carefully worded email acknowledging the inappropriate conduct and announcing new policies, but totally avoided mentioning Lily or any of the other women. The investment deal is still in jeopardy, though, and the company has implemented a hiring freeze and is talking about potential layoffs. So even though Brett is gone, the damage to the company and to Lily's career there is done. I have such mixed feelings about all this. On one hand, I'm relieved that Brett's behavior was exposed and he faced some consequences. On the other hand, I might lose Lily over this. Was protecting her worth potentially destroying our relationship? I honestly don't know anymore. I keep replaying every interaction they had, wondering if I misinterpreted things or if Lily really did send mixed signals like Brett claimed. I don't actually think she did, but when you're alone with your thoughts at 3 a.m., your mind goes to weird places. This morning, after a week of barely any contact, I got a text from Lily asking to meet for coffee tomorrow to talk about everything. I'm terrified. Part of me hopes this means reconciliation, but I'm also scared she's just meeting me to formally end our engagement. Can a relationship survive something like this? Can we rebuild trust? I still believe reporting Brett was the right thing to do. I just wish I'd approached it differently, knowing what the consequences would be.